Audio Jungle.
Welcome to the Grow Smarter podcast, your go-to podcast for practical strategies, insights, and proven tips to elevate your business with HubSpot. And we're here to help you work smarter, scale faster, and achieve meaningful growth. So this episode, we're going to get down and dirty with email marketing, that old tactic that nobody talks about, but they should. And here to fight for that cause is Paola Pisano, a digital marketing specialist here at Pixelled. Welcome to the episode.
Hi, Nathan. Hi, everyone.
And we are promising to make this a fun episode. So,
yeah, we'll try. I'm not super fun because I get very nerd about this topic.
Well, nerds are fun. Nerds can
yes,
be
we
fun.
can be fun.
So we will attempt to do that. So I guess starting off, there's this perception that, email marketing is not that important, right? Like you hear that, well, it doesn't get mentioned as much as some of the other tactics out there, but you are a massive fan of email marketing, aren't you?
Yes, I think that's the biggest mistake. We were actually talking the other day in our meeting that we were trying to remember what is the reason why most of our clients come to us. And I don't remember anyone saying, you know what, guys, I really want a good email marketing strategy. And that's a mistake because to me, that's probably, the biggest mistake, to assume that that's still old and not effective. But the truth is, it's still thriving. And it's probably one of the channels that, in comparison to your investment, you're more likely to get the most revenue out of it. So that's a big point.
Well, once it's set up, you're really only paying time, right, to actually draft and create the email and send it out to people, because, well, there's a small amount maybe for the tools that you use to send, but it's probably a negligible cost these days for something like HubSpot or even a MailChimp. So that's not really the barrier. It's probably more time.
It's probably time. I mean, probably the only thing that you have to pay. So once you're running an email campaign, it means that you already have a database with contacts. So probably whatever you invested to get the contacts is what actually cost.
There's the thing. There's the part, right? So most people don't have a good database. Or if they have one, they haven't sent emails to it for months on end, years on end. They acquired it somehow from someone. And the effectiveness of a let's call it a dirty database is pretty limited, right? You're going to get lots of unsubscribes, lots of spam reports, and it's only going to do harm, not good for your business. So it probably starts at the start, right? Getting that database right, start collecting information from people that actually want to hear from you.
Yes, exactly. So I think just to cover the bases, we need a database, right? But also we just need to know what are the main uses for email marketing. So I think if I had to pick the biggest two things that you can do through email marketing, I mean, this podcast probably is not for e-commerce people. Like, I feel like if you're running an e-commerce business, you probably are on top of it, email marketing.
Well, you'd be surprised.
Most likely. Or you should. Because that's a completely different dynamic. You're probably, if you're shopping online, you might be getting emails about you left this on your cart or all those type. But if you think about other companies like services or B2B businesses, probably email marketing will be the best thing to do for you to nurture leads and to also increase customer satisfaction. It's great for also loyalty. And I think once I heard this, that someone said, the email marketing is to try to turn the people that like you to love you. So it's actually just focusing on people that actually like you. We don't try to conquer or seduce anyone who doesn't want to hear from us. We don't want it in our database. So as you said, I think not only for email marketing, for everything you do nowadays, businesses need to know that every action that they do marketing-wise, you need to be collecting data, and you need to be collecting that data right. Because I think that it's where, your business revenue is, demand is, and what you do with that information is what can make you stand up in the future.
And so what are some of the ways that I guess people can collect that data? What are the easiest ways to do that?
I think the easiest way, it's probably, let's say you are, someone is in your website. You can have, a simple pop-up to sign up to your newsletter, and you can offer an incentive. That's usually probably the easiest and most common way to get someone to sign up.
Yeah.
I think it's an effective one, but you need to do it right, because that also and this is again more for e-commerce, but usually we'll see 10% off on your first purchase, or so a lot of people also sign up to get that discount and then they unsubscribe immediately.
Sure.
So we don't really want that. So another big mistake is like people tend to overlook the power of the first email that someone receives after signing up for an incentive or a newsletter.
Yeah.
So we really need to make sure that that email is exactly what we want to be. And so
A big hook, something that's valuable or
yeah, something that first of all that grab attention, because that email is the first one that that person is going to receive. So if that person opens it up, then your chances of that email landing into the inbox
yes.
are also higher. So that's more like the technical part of email marketing. We also need to really follow the best practices for to get into the inbox. So maybe in email marketing, you're not fighting against algorithms like on social media, but this is a different game about actually not, being detected as spam and all those sort of things.
So that first email and that first open is really important.
Exactly. And it's probably likely to be the highest engagement, email that you might have.
Yeah.
So what is the first thing that you need to focus on to that to happen is the subject line. So the subject line is the preview text that you see before opening the email, right? So it has to be catchy. It has to be attention grabbing. And like probably the best thing, it could be offering something, like saying that something special is awaiting there. Like, thanks for joining. There's a special treat for you waiting in here. Something to, to make that action happen.
So it's obvious that there's something valuable inside.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think we need to be obvious.
What about personalization in the subject line? Person's name, maybe something they've chosen in another form field.
Yeah, so person name probably is the most common way of personalization. But I think nowadays we enter into an era that it's needs to go a little bit deeper. So they're saying that one of the trends at the moment is maybe using as personalization the job role that a person might have or the industry. Like if you say, for example, for us, like something special for marketers or using that word.
Yeah.
Or like, I don't know, HR specialist, exclusive guide or something that appeals to you, but not strictly just.
So that's more
your
like
name.
segmenting, right? Really? You're sending emails to certain segments rather than personalizing the email within the one email?
Yes. I mean, obviously, you will need to make sure that the audience that you're selecting to send that email applies to that field, but to actually use those words in the subject line.
Yeah.
So if it's more personalized.
What about emojis? I know emojis were kind of cool. And I remember Inbound a couple of years back now, they were talking about which emojis drove the most open rates.
Yeah.
Are they still a thing?
Well, I think the last thing that I read was that emojis can increase open rates by 20% on average.
Wow.
So they're still a thing.
Substantial.
I've seen mostly people using like the alarm emoji, the red emoji, especially for sales or the megaphones, like those sort of emojis.
Explosion emoji,
Yes.
I think is a popular one. I think I remember that one being one of the highest open rate influencers. Yeah.
So there definitely is a place for that.
It goes against some branding guidelines for a lot of businesses we work with because they want to seem professional and prestigious or higher level, and emojis can sometimes feel a bit cheap.
Yes. Or a bit salesy or a bit,
Yeah, I guess there's a bit of a sacrifice there on, what do you want? Do you want business results? Do you want open results? Or do you want to maintain that brand consistency? So you do have to make a decision there and understand the pros and cons to both.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that goes for your copy. I mean, you can be salesy in your copy, or you can try and be posh and prestigious in the email if you want to.
Yes.
But that might come at the cost of direct engagement.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that's another topic that we can talk later about, the tone of voice for email marketing, which is really important. So just to wrap up the welcome email. So yes, subject line, really think about it, make it special, make it grabbing so people can actually click on it. If they click on it, probably the easiest way and the most effective way to do it is by offering something in exchange. Like maybe there's a special discount, maybe there's a special content for them to download. Make them feel exclusive, because now if they joined to be part of your business or to receive communications, it means that they're part of your community. So how do you welcome someone? And another thing that I think is important is to set the expectation. So if someone is willing to receive, let's say, a fortnight or like monthly communication from us, we need to make sure that they know exactly what they're signing up to, because we don't want unsubscribers. I mean, we want that to happen if they don't actually want to be in our database, but we need to make sure that we are very clear to what we're offering so people know how to expect, how often to expect it.
Yeah.
So the welcome email is also a great chance to address that. Obviously, it sounds very boring, but in an exciting way. Like, we're going to give you this content or invitation or exclusive this and that, or
Well, you normally just get bombarded, don't you? So if someone actually sets it up in a very honest and authentic way, you're going to appreciate that a lot more and probably hang around a lot longer.
yeah. And sometimes the frequency is not really like a problem as long as you're very clear. Like, for example, I know that I have a weekly newsletter on like marketing trends, and I like that it's weekly because I need that content frequently. But if I want something for, I don't know, real estate in Geelong, maybe once a month for me is enough.
Yeah.
So there's not really a bad or good frequency. We need to make sure that we're consistent. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So that's one off. So if you're trying to, collect a database, maybe start with a signing up and craft the best welcome email that you can.
When people are signing up, do you think they need to do the double opt-in? Maybe just explain what double opt-in is.
Well, I think sometimes people recommend that. What I would do if I have to advise to a client, I would not do the double opt-in, but if they did it, I will make, and this is a good practice in general, and you have to, otherwise you can actually get identified as a spam. Make the unsubscribe button really clear. Don't hide it. That's not a good practice. That's not going to increase your performance. So if people sign up,
Has to be there.
it has to be there.
Yeah. And most platforms enforce that. HubSpot enforces that.
It has to. Yes,
Yeah.
it is correct. And how frustrating. Think about how frustrating it is when you're trying to. There's another like practice that I don't think is the best one. To me, as a consumer, it frustrates me. It's like when you try to unsubscribe and you have so many lists that then you unsubscribe from just one sending, but not
the
there's
one
multiples.
thing that really pisses me off is when I unsubscribe from an email and I still get their emails, and then it's like a little notice. May take up to X amount of days to take you off this list.
Yeah, no, that should be automatic.
Instant. What the hell? Like, what could it possibly be doing for days?
Yes. That is so bad. It's actually, I actually need to double check in Australia, but in most countries, not. That can be illegal. Like, you have to action
definitely
it.
overseas. I think Europe's harder than we are. I think Australia's laws are pretty lax on spam email, really. So double opt-in is definitely not required. So you can sign up lists directly, but you can sign up anyone in theory to an email list. If you want to prank somebody by signing them up to some bizarre shop, you can do that in Australia. It's not really illegal for those companies to then email them. There's also this bizarre concept in Australia called implied consent. So if you're a customer of mine, I can email you or add you to my marketing email list just because it's implied that I will communicate with you because you're a customer of mine.
Yes.
It is loose because implied consent is also if you put your email address on a public-facing website or it's a publicly obtainable on a social media platform, that's also implied consent that you want to be emailed to. Is it best practice to send to those email addresses? No, but you're not going to get in trouble with the law for emailing an email address that you found publicly.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that changed. Sort of in
I think for sure it's coming. I think
Yes.
we will eventually conform to what Europe's doing in the GDPR laws.
And we definitely don't recommend to do that. I think one of the keys for a successful email marketing campaign, and this is something that we try to really educate our clients, is that we are not worried too much about the quantity, but the quality. Big numbers in email marketing are not equal to good results.
You're tugging at the ego of a business owner here because I feel it. I feel what other business owners feel. They have a number in their mind of the number of people on their list and they do not want to let it go. Even if it's thousands of people that have never opened that email, there's an ego metric there that I'm sending. My database is this big. But that large chunk is not even opening the email anymore. It's probably automatically being filtered through to the trash.
Yes.
So yes, they do need to focus on quality. Hey.
Yes, but it's not even just a matter of the quality. Like, it's not going to work. Your emails are not going to land in your inbox because if you have a database of people that are not expecting communication from you at all, they just, so basically your domain that you're sending your email through, that gets a reputation. Imagine as a score. You won't be able to actually see what that reputation or score is, but based on the performance of your email. So if you have a lot of people that unsubscribe, or a lot of people that mark your emails as spam, then it means that you're more likely to not get to the people that actually was expecting also to hear from you. So and that's very hard to correct over time. That's why it needs to be very clear the way that you're going to do your email marketing from the beginning, because it's very hard to reverse that sort of side effect. And in terms of quality, as we said, we actually are communicating with people who are quite warm or are existing clients sometimes. So if you think about that, you have like 1,000 people, but you have actually 100 people that you actually know they're waiting for you and they're engaged with your business. That means if you put all the focus on making the most segmented, personalized email, there's so much more outcome and potentially revenue that's gonna get out of it.
Yeah.
Another way to work around that, which sometimes we recommend and we have it done for our clients, is like if you have a larger database or people who interacted with your emails in the past but they're not interacting anymore, you can maybe do a personal email for them and just say, hey, we haven't heard from you in a while. Are you still interested? And they might say no. And if they go, that's not actually as bad. We actually want to know exactly where are the people expecting to hear from us.
If anything, you're actually leaving a good taste in the mouth and a good experience at the end for someone who wasn't interested in your product anyway.
Yes,
but
exactly.
At least they're leaving with, okay, they're respecting my time and my inbox.
Exactly right. So we spoke about the importance, for example, of a welcome email to get that very good first impression.
Yeah.
So there's another big point to make sure, because we know that people, we're all busy, and sometimes setting aside for this type of content, it might feel like, I need to do it. So the best way, and we still recommend it a lot, we are a HubSpot agency, so we use HubSpot to do our email marketing for our clients, but also it's because it gives us the opportunity to automate emails. So emails as well, like everything is effective when it's not only target to the right audience, but also when it gets to your inbox in the right time. So if I sign up for your newsletter and you send me a welcome email 2 days later, that just, I forgot about it. Or that's just not right. Yeah. So obviously, if you're doing that, try to automate it so it's going to be instant and you get that communication straight away.
You can do things like an onboarding sequence, not just a welcome email, but like an onboarding sequence of multiple emails in the first week or first couple of weeks.
Exactly.
And
Yes.
get them sort of warmed up before they get the regular news kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, actually, I'm going to give you an example, because I was laughing with a friend the other day when I just said, I just signed up to Pilates again. I just love their email marketing, and they got me because I appreciate the work, but also because they did such a beautiful onboarding sequence. So just an example, this business hasn't opened yet, but they started launching a campaign prior to opening. So basically, as a customer, I sign up to a place that I haven't even seen in real life, and I committed to a membership for 3 months that I can't cancel. But their onboarding was so beautiful that it just made me feel that business fits with the environment that I want for a Pilates studio, for example. So they gave me a welcome email. Then they follow up with updates on the business and the opening and the time classes. And they gave me a gift for being one of the first people to sign up, which made me feel like good. And then they also gave me a discount to share with friends. So all that sequence was so well done, and that I ended up purchasing. So that's good in terms of how much you can connect with someone who is interested.
Yeah. How much then does design play into
design?
Yeah.
Well, I think email marketing, as any other asset, it has to be obviously on brand, right? Like visually.
Lots of people that do email newsletters, though, like in small business and small and medium-sized business, that the person creating the newsletter is often not a designer.
Yes, it's true. I would say that probably an email is the only way. I mean, we consume email from very big organization of massive marketing agencies, and they're not, when you look at it, it's not a crazy design. It's not that polished. It's not that perfect. It's just text, but you know what? It's good. It's a ton of voice. I think definitely, make it on brand, use your fonts, use your colors, but I don't think the visual aspect is, at least my opinion. I feel like you're going to care
I'm
much.
on the other side.
Yeah, you're going to care much.
I'm thinking of the email subscriptions that I stay on, and it's because they look good.
I stay.
So I consider them more of like a magazine. So there's a couple of like real estate ones that I stay on that have just beautiful designs, and I appreciate the design from a marketing perspective, but also the way they're presenting properties is really interesting. So I always peruse what's on the market. I know that a couple of the software services that we use, like Slack, like Later.com, they have beautifully designed news and webinar template emails that just grab my attention more than say some of the SEO guys that are really like technical and just dull to read and just doesn't grab your attention. So I really do appreciate the design element, and that's what makes me look further at a spam email. Not spam, sorry, a newsletter. That's what grabs my attention to look a little bit further, because I just don't have time to scour through something that isn't sort of clean and nicely presented.
Fair enough. I think I tend to disagree. I think it's dependent, honestly, on the industry. If you're talking to me about real estate and we're showing properties, we know that the visual aspect is pretty much all of it.
Yeah.
You're not it's
big part, yeah.
Yes, it has to be there. Same if you're a restaurant or something, like I want to see a food that is tempting me, or like Absolutely. A nice cocktail. Yeah. Like I think there it is important. If I'm thinking about more educational, like more newsletters or the marketing newsletters that we're signing up, they're like very I kind of like that it's more like the way that they dump the content is you have memes, which is funny. But I think even though if it's visually nice, it has to be very well written. It has to feel human, and it has to be. I think it's the best piece of marketing to show your tone of voice.
Yeah.
I love when someone is consistent. You might get tips in a funny way and very direct and very punchy. Also, even though it's an email, people are not reading everything, so try to highlight. They're going to scan, and maybe you can redirect.
Yeah. So no 1,000, 2,000 word essays in an email newsletter.
No. Unless I don't know. I feel like during COVID, like people like to read the stories and stuff like that, but it's not really businesses.
No, there are some sort of like educational newsletters you can subscribe to, which maybe you would expect a bit more content in them.
Yes.
But for the majority of businesses out there listening, or marketers listening, they would probably not do that.
And another thing that we speak with our clients a lot about email marketing, I think it is the fact that sometimes we think that because it's email or because we're doing marketing for a business, we need to sound as very corporate or as a business.
Yeah.
Email is like email. We use it all the time, and we send emails from a human to another human. Like we are a person. So I think when you are drafting your emails, just put a person on it. It's not Pixel writing you. It's Nathan or it's me.
Yeah.
Like make it a tone of voice that feels human, because also it really increases the chances to people to might reply to you. Like in terms of like you think an actual person sent you an email, not just a company. And that's a very key element to me to make it effective.
So say we're sending these emails, we've got our templates looking beautiful, we've got our subject line nailed, it's got the right emoji, it's personalized, the copy is just right. How do we then test the performance?
I think before jumping on that, I might need to add just one quick one.
Go for it.
That, okay, you got your subject line, your body, everything done. But we need to talk about call to actions. And call to action is basically probably the core thing that you need to define before drafting the whole piece, which is like, what is the action? What is the goal of your email? Yeah. So an easy mistake to make is sometimes like, oh, I'm going to pump you with news. I'm going to tell you about this. I wrote this blog, so go here. And also I got this post, go here. And I publish a podcast, click here. So that usually doesn't tend to perform excellent. So the recommendation, especially if you're just starting, try to focus on just one single action. It could be trying to redirect people to your website to see any special content, or telling your people that you got a new product, so you just want them to read the whole thing and maybe inquire or watch a video of how it works, or sign up for something. It has to be something clear.
Yeah.
And it has to be people need to know exactly what they need to do. It has to be clear and direct, because then, and now going to your question, we can measure. So there's a lot of things that we can measure, but if we don't have a goal defined, then we don't really know if what's successful or not. So in terms of the metrics that you can read, or the most important to see email performance, I'll say it's open rates. We see basically how many people opened your email, and clicks. Nowadays, a lot of people are not trusting open rates as much, because there's been changes with Apple and the way that the bots will open your emails to detect, if it's spam or not. So it's not extremely accurate anymore, but it's still pretty important. I still look
some
at
sort
it.
of indicator, right?
Yes. And HubSpot has a differentiated to you to show you the open rate with everything, and they have like an average of without bots.
Every different device and all that kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you can have, it's still important, right?
Yeah.
Like you need that metric anyways. But to me, the most important one is clicks.
So when you start trying to optimize these metrics, there's a little tactic you can use called A/B testing.
Yes.
So for those that might not know, give us a quick explanation of what A/B testing is.
So A/B testing is basically a test. So you run like the option A and you run option B. So let's say you have a database of 1,000 contacts. Okay, so you divide it by, 500 contacts here, 500 contacts there. And then you need to pick of all the elements of your email, which could be subject line, images, call to action, I don't know, the colors, the branding. Just choose just one thing to change, and then you do a version A and version B. And then let's say that you pick your subject line. You just want to know if, I don't know, if the word free works better than complimentary or something like that. Yeah. So then you send both of it, and then you can compare open rates and click and see which one performed better.
Yeah. And on a larger scale, you can do an A/B test at the start of an email campaign, and then determine a winner, and then send it to the bulk of your database with the one that performs the best. So you do a little small sample set, and then send it to send the winner to the rest.
Yes, I think they're super helpful.
Yeah,
and you can sometimes we just focus on an email, but it could be audiences as well that you can segment and see what resonates better. But it's actually great. I think it is a great practice. We just need to make sure that you choose one thing to change. Otherwise, you're not going to be sure what actually worked or not.
All right, I'm going to hit you with a unexpected pop quiz.
Okay.
Your choice to increase the click rate, open rate. Best emoji.
Best emoji.
Yeah.
To click to.
Yeah.
I think it's depend. We don't have heaps of e-commerce brands, but
come on, one emoji. Let's go.
I like the alert for that one,
okay,
for
cool.
sales or like stuff.
Best word in a subject line.
Best word in a subject line. Exclusive.
Done.
Or treat.
Best call to action copy.
Best call to action copy. I don't have one that I repeat though. Maybe you can say, get your special offer or get your special something.
Yep. And best color button.
Oh, well, that depends on branding.
No.
Just make it legible.
Choose a color.
I don't have anything to
There
measure
are some
that.
Interesting stats. I've seen lots of studies on that. Green.
I don't have
Green is by
green?
far the best. Green and orange. Orange, I think, on websites, but in email marketing studies, I've seen green.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So something about subject lines that you were saying, people are saying now, just forget about if you're putting your call to action, just don't do download, buy now, shop now, learn more. That doesn't work anymore. You need to replace it by sentences and make it if I'm inviting you to an event and you need to, to register, you can do something more like
Join
say
the
my
fun.
spot,
Yes.
or like get my guide, or give me my tips, or like something a bit more personal and
Yeah.
more like a sentence. Make it more desirable.
Yeah, gotcha. And so a last metric that you might track
Oh, yeah.
is unsubscribes.
Yes.
Now, based on what we were saying earlier, unsubscribes are not always a bad thing because you want your list to be clean.
Yes.
You want to encourage unsubscribes to people that don't want to be on your list. So not always a bad metric. It's a bit like the old website metric bounce rate when people leave the website. It's not necessarily a bad thing. So what should we be aiming for? What's a good unsubscribe rate per email, do you think?
So we got the benchmarks for HubSpot. So the benchmark is to have 0.35%.
Okay.
So for example,
1 in 300.
yeah, so it's quite, I mean, to achieve those benchmarks, you need to be doing a good job. So I think
It's not too bad. That's per email, right? So it's not.
it's per email.
Yeah. So if you've got a list of 2,000 contacts, no more than 7.
Yeah, I mean, it is definitely achievable, but as you said, you don't need to get too scared or too sad if someone unsubscribe. That's fine.
Okay.
You just need to make sure that you're still cleaning the database anyway, and we don't need to send the same email to everyone. Just choose your audience, make it targeted to someone in particular.
Well, Paola, that's an awesome episode full of lots of actionable information
Thank
there.
you.
So
I don't know if it was fun, but we definitely share information.
Fun for marketers, and that's who we're talking to. So
Yeah.
thanks for your time, and
No
see
worries.
you on the next episode.
Thank you.